And now, a story from the Appleseed.
So there was a poor cotter. And a cotter is a tenant farmer, somebody who had a little strip of land that they could use to make the vegetables and keep the livestock that they needed to keep themselves alive. So they relied on the seasons a lot, and they tended to be not very well off. And they were usually tenants of a lord of the manor who owned all of the land that the strips were part of. And there's this poor cotter I want to tell you about. One year, I mean, he was good. He had green fingers, as we say in England. He was good at gardening. He grew all sorts of vegetables and fruits. But one year, he had a terrible harvest. All his crops failed, all but one. An onion. One onion that snaked out its tendrils under the ground, sucking up all of the moisture and the nutrients. No wonder nothing else had the heart to grow. This onion added layer upon layer to its gargantuan self. Week on week, month on month, this thing swelled under the ground. The poor old cotter, though, this is terrible for him because he can't feed himself. Luckily, though, the cotter was a part of a community, and the community of other tenant farmers did what communities do. They pitched in, they helped him through the winter, they fed him. They even, when spring came around, decided that they would help him dig this onion up. It took them fully 3 hours to dig the thing out, heaving it out, when it finally came out of the ground, it was like a jet engine with a taproot. It was a thing of gargantuan wonder, this thing, and it was a bit smelly also. But it was just incredible. You could stand next to it. It was probably about as high as me, this onion. This is all true, by the way. And high up on the hill, as this was happening, this caper was happening, the lord of the manor, Lord Alliam, was looking out of his mansion house, down at the tenant farmers who seemed to be having a jolly old time digging up a frowsty old onion, albeit a massive one. Look at them laughing down there. He looked at them sneeringly. He hated the jocular poor. He didn't like them to be so... What have they got to laugh about? Their lives are supposed to be awful. Why are they so happy? And what is that thing down there? Onion messing up my lovely long strips. I mean, what are they doing? Well, down there, what they were doing was they were deciding what to do with this onion. Shall we cook it? No, can't cook it. Too stringy, it'd be fibrous. Look at the size of it. You'd never get a knife big enough to chop it either, would you? No. Oh, we could exhibit it, says another neighbour. We could charge people a penny a look. But the cotter decided that he knew exactly what he was going to do with it. He was going to wrap it up in the best sackcloth he could find and take it as a gift to the Queen. Because the Queen, she was one of those monarchs who was jocular herself. She loved a novelty. She was tickled pink by a curiosity, and the cotter knew that it would make her very, very happy. So he wrapped it up and he tied it with a little bit of rag and he hefted it onto his back because he didn't have a horse, but he was very strong. He walked up the hill towards the castle, and Lord Alliam watched sneeringly as he made his way up. Thought to himself, "That's pathetic, isn't it? Why is he taking a massive onion to the Queen?" You see, if there's one thing that Lord Alliam hated more than the jocular poor, it was onions. He didn't like the smell, didn't like the feel, didn't like the texture, didn't like the sound they make when you put them in the frying pan. I mean, most of us love that, right? Not Lord Alliam. Couldn't stand it. He couldn't understand why this cotter was going up to the castle with this pathetic gift for the Queen. It never dawned on Lord Alliam that maybe somebody gives something to someone just to make them happy. But Lord Alliam thought to himself, I could give something to the Queen. What could I give? To be honest, Lord Alliam was an avaricious person. He didn't really like to give things away. He watched like a hawk as the cotter made his way up the hill into the castle. Now, inside the castle, when the onion was delivered to the Queen, and she opened it, wow! She'd never seen any kind of vegetable as large as that. She was tickled pink. She thought it was the most wonderful thing she'd ever said. "Oh, well, that's fantastic," she said. "Although it does smell a bit. Could you put it in the buttery, take it away? But oh, it's lovely," she thought to herself. And she noticed the poor sackcloth and rag that it was tied in and realised that it must have been given to her by a very poor farmer, and a poor farmer, honouring his queen with such generosity, deserves a really big, huge reward. And she thought, what can it be? What would be good for him? I know. And she sent 3 bags of gold to the cottar's house. And Lord Allium watched these 3 bags of gold be delivered with mounting derision. Oh, so he gets 3 bags of gold for a frowsty old onion, massive, horrible, fibrous thing. What have I got? What has the Queen ever given me? He thought to himself. All his money was hard-earned by exploiting the local poor. He'd never been given a free thing in his life. The cotter surprised him even more, by the way, with what he did with his gold. He kept some for himself, of course, against a rainy day. He gave some generously to the community that had helped him, and he used the rest to throw a massive party. Lord Allium was invited, but he declined. He didn't like parties, especially not with that lot down there. He looked down again from the window of his house, sneeringly at the horrible tower of yucky, greasy sausage rolls. Ugh. And he poured scorn on the cheap barley wine they were drinking. And then when they got the sackbut out, you know the sackbut? It's the old version of the trombone. The sackbut's parping was to Lord Allium's ears what an onion was to his nose and his nasal passages. When they started doing sackbut karaoke, Lord Allium sniffed, called it a night, shut the windows and got into bed in a huff. And as he lay there in his silk pyjamas, he thought, what have they got to smile about, eh? They're poor, they're supposed to be unhappy. And how dare he take an onion to honour the Queen? If I took something to the Queen, she'd have to honour me, wouldn't she? I've got things I could give the Queen. And he went through his mental index that he'd been thinking of for a few days now, and he realised that he had excellent stables. Many, many wondrous stallions. What would the Queen give him if he honoured her with one of those? So the very next morning, he went down to the stables and he picked out the second best stallion. And he had it prepared. He had it massaged and oiled with unguents. Had the best saddle laid over its back. Tied a silk ribbon round its neck himself and had it sent up to the Queen. And when the Queen received this gift, she was delighted. It was a fantastic specimen. I mean, she did have a whole stable full of horses herself, but this would be a lovely addition. She was well chuffed, as we say. And she had it sent to the stables to join its new friends. And she thought to herself, well, I can see by the quality of the saddle alone that this gift has come from a very, very grand nobleman. And a grand nobleman who honours his Queen like this deserves a really massive gift. What could it be? A few days later, Lord Allium, was in his house, waiting expectantly, and he saw the Queen's messengers draw up in their carriage. Oh, his heart was fluttering. He went to the door before they'd even knocked it, opened it, and there on the ground between them these 2 servants was a huge box, oak box, ornate, carved and inlaid with marquetry. It was a thing of beauty. It was closed with 2 stout leather straps. If this box alone were the gift the Queen was honouring him with, it would be gift enough. But thinks Lord Allium, think about all the gold that's in that box for my stallion. Yes! He took 4 of his servants to drag the box inside, and his fingers, deft from the counting of money, itched to open those straps, but he thought, no. There's only one thing that would make this moment sweeter. An audience. So he threw a party, and he invited everybody to it. Local noblemen, the few friends that he had, people that he hated. He just wanted them to come and see him get honoured by the Queen. He particularly made sure that all of the local tenant farmers were invited, with guest of honour, the poor cotter. That'll show him, won't it? Never mind his frowsty old onion. Never mind his 3 bags of gold. Well, there were canapes, there were drinks, the wine was good, there was not a sackbut in sight, no karaoke. When everyone had drunk and danced their fill and were having a wonderful time, when the party was about to reach its zenith, Lord Allium cut it, made everyone, shh, be quiet. And he mounted with some regality a wooden stage that he'd had erected at the back end of the hall for just this purpose. And on the stage was the box. And Lord Allium turned to the assembled crowd, who really did want to get back to the canapes and were hoping for some karaoke, but he stopped them. He said, "No, listen to me now. Not long ago, I sent my prize stallion as a gift to honour Our Lady the Queen, and she, in return, has delivered unto me this gift of untold treasure to honour me, Lord Allium. Behold!" And with his nimble fingers, he undid the straps, and he pulled open the box, and inside there was a silk bag, tied with a velvet ribbon. And Lord Allium pulled expectantly upon the bow of the velvet ribbon, and everything went into slow motion. The crowd leaned forward. The hush descended. The silk fell back. And Lord Allium's proud, sneering face collapsed like a falling tower of greasy sausage rolls. When that bag fell open to reveal the Queen's gift, the largest, stinkiest onion you have ever seen. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for a story from the Appleseed.